What's up? This is Mark Maiden. You're listening to alldayplay.fm. I think it's in a good place right now. There's a lot of new DJs that came out. At least with my circle of friends, there are a lot of veterans that are teaching the new DJs out, and a lot of the new DJs that I know are learning a lot from them. The balance between the two, veterans and like young DJs, I think for me, at least in my community, have come together pretty well. And it feels like there's no like age limit in like what we're doing, whether it be young or old. And we teach each other with like music. I teach old, they teach new, and it's a good thing. You know, if you think about it, when I started, DJing had only been around for like 20 years. So whatever veterans I knew are kind of also starting at the same time. So the music was still new, the hip hop was still new. But now with like, you know, so much more music out there, then there's a lot more DJs, then there's a little teaching between the young people and the old people. So I wouldn't say old people, the veterans. I'm not old. My community, they don't gatekeep. I don't know who else is doing that out there, but the people that I run with definitely are, you know, teaching types of like DJs. You know, Katso obviously has a school, and I, you know, sometimes like I check it out and like, you know, kind of sit around and see what everyone is like learning and what everyone is doing. So yeah, there's definitely that in the community right now. I like a theme more than anyone, but I'm pretty open. Like I don't necessarily like to do one style all the time, but I can. I mean, it's not like I'm not like so against it, but like, you know, with Serato, with like having such a big library, you kind of want to go like everywhere versus like just sticking to like a specific genre. But I've done theme parties and they're also fun. And it just kind of makes me be a little bit more creative. And the theme parties, I feel like I have to prepare a little bit more than like the open format ones. So yeah, that's also that fun way of like, you know, preparing for that set. Yeah. Lately, I've been dabbling a lot in like dancehall. A lot of like dance remixes. A lot of my friends make a lot of remixes, so I put a lot of that stuff, you know, out there. And I'm gonna do a party with Katso in Hawaii called Tears in Paradise. So it's gonna be a lot of like new wave, rock, and you know, that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of like all over. I grew up with new wave. I started hip hop like, you know, a little bit like in the early 90s. So I have a little bit of like experience with both as far as like listening to music. To be honest with you, I like opening. It gives me a little bit more freedom, like a little bit more artsier in like that form. And, you know, not that like prime time is easy, but like I can pretty much figure it out as soon as I get to that point. But I think the freedom of like opening is great. If you've only experienced being like a primetime DJ, you're not gonna get the reps for opening. And it just goes with time. Like I think by the time those DJs that are just set to do primetime sets learn how to open, then I think they'll like open their minds into like other things, and that's always a good thing. I still like to break music. Like I still like to break remixes. I still like to break new music out there. I kind of miss that part of DJing, and you know, there are a lot of parties that I do now that I know I have to play the same exact thing over and over, and that's okay. And I still do enjoy that, but you know, having to research like beforehand is still fun for me. And like putting together a new set or like a new crate, it's still there's still a joy in that part of DJing for me. I like both, but the back-to-back slots, it kind of depends. Like there's only a few of people that I can do that with, just because of styles and like, you know, type of music. But most of the people that I play with now, I can pretty much do back-to-back with them. Like, you know, Boogie Brown, Katso, I can, you know, they're fun to like tag along with, and also it's good to keep up with them. Like it's also like an exercise to keeping up. And so if there was a time where I would do back-to-back, I'd like to kind of try to match their energy or keep up. So I started in the mobile game. I got my first DJ lesson from my uncle now. He married into the family. His name is Derek. He used to go by D-Knock 1200. And I fell in love with it right away. And, you know, it was a lot of records back then. And then he had to quit because he started a family. So I kind of took over like the family DJ business. So I started my own company in 2000, and I just kind of took off after that. And initially, as far as like me being a DJ, I wanted to do more rap, like underground rap parties, and that was really what I was into. And then I figured like, man, there's no girls here in these clubs, so like, you know, I was like, I gotta like learn all the, you know, the pop stuff to be out there. And you know, then finally I pretty much like opened myself up, and then like, you know, I started enjoying a lot of these like, you know, more popular types of music, and it just kind of went from there. I started throwing house parties in Alameda, and then, you know, it started with a small house, and then it got to a bigger house, and then I was like, maybe we should move this over to a club, and then that was it. There was a couple of stories where like, you know, we had people like hiding in the closets and everything because we would have gotten in real trouble. So I started in like 2000 after, you know, my uncle had like given me some like other equipment that he had. Then, you know, it's built off of that. And, you know, back then it was still amps. There was no powered speakers, and a lot of heavy lifting. But, you know, as like technology progressed, I kept up with it. And I'm very much in like progressive into keeping up with technology. So, you know, I don't have like sentimental value to keeping like equipment. So I flip things around like really quick. And so it kind of keeps me up there as far as like having a pretty good system to rent out and pretty good system to use out there. So I've been renting out mostly to people I trust lately, because like I have like a lot of new gear that I want to keep like in good condition, but I am moving towards renting out. I wouldn't say necessarily say beaters, but like a little bit more of like something I wouldn't use for myself in mobiles. It'll be a little bit of buying a lot of used equipment for that kind of stuff. So kind of push that rental part that way. So it's not really out there in public because, you know, there's still like a trust issue, and, you know, I have to make sure like all my stuff comes in clean. But for the most part, everyone that's been renting out for me all over the Bay Area have been, you know, very good about like, you know, keeping it like pretty clean and stuff. So the next phase is that like new old equipment to be coming in. And a lot of times too, like I'm just like the sound manager. Like I just like set up, and, you know, someone else will DJ and I'll just take down, and that's also fun for me. I like to make sure the energy is good each time. Like I enjoy having people like look up and like figure out like, oh, that's a good song. Like I'm start dancing now. That's kind of like my draw, and that's kind of like the drug that I like about DJing, is getting them out there to dance. So, you know, I'm friends with a lot of good remixers, so I use a lot of their stuff a lot. I grew up in an era where 8-bar intros were frowned upon. I use them now, I don't really care, but like I still have that practice of like playing the original versions of songs. It just kind of depends on the flow of everything. You know, some original versions don't really start out good, so, you know, that 8-bar intro does help. But I still like originals, but there are so many good remixes out there, you can't like not play them. In a rap party, I love playing New Oakland still. When it hits like on the one, it still hits really good. I would say in the R&B party, I love playing Cassie for some reason, like Me and You. There's still like a certain like sound to it that's like kind of unmatched. Dancehall parties, still love Lumity. When the uh-oh part comes in, like it's still like a draw, you know. Those are probably like what I would cycle the most, like different styles of parties or whatever. So I would say out of my all-time favorite DJs, you know, it's Shortcut, it's Cutso, Boogie Brown, King Most. Those are probably my favorites. New DJs, there's these two guys that like I just played with. They're called Jay Menace and Chris Obi. They're called the Good Neighbors, and they have a really good like musical sense. And you can tell by being young DJs, they're like so hungry and they want to learn like everything, old, new. They have a style. They can play hip hop, they can play dance, they can play anything. Those are probably my two favorite DJs right now, and I just kind of put them on in one of my parties recently, and they killed it. So the way it comes in, like I said, like New Oakland comes in really tough. So I like it when it comes in, or if it's like like Cassie comes in kind of like mellow, but when the second 4 comes in, and then people recognize it right away, and then the beat comes in on the next 4, and those are like my favorite types of music to play. Yeah. What's up? This is Mark Maiden. You're listening to ADP.FM.